Shalom. Yahweh, I'm priest and officer Qadash of the I.S.U.P.K. And tonight's class is the Lahawan Qadash class. And one of the things that I wanted to go over first was Zephaniah 3:9. Zephaniah 3:9 says, "For then I will turn to the people a pure language." That pure language that it was talking about was Eber when you read Genesis. Talking about that language coming from Shem to Eber to Abraham, from Abraham to Isaac, and then to Jacob. That's why we have that title, Hebrew Israelites. Hebrew being the language, Israelite being the nationality because of Jacob. Jacob getting his name changed to Israel according to Genesis 32. Should be Genesis 32 and 37. But, getting his name changed to Israel. So, it says, I will turn, in Zephaniah 3:9, I will turn my people to a pure language, which is the Hebrew, which is the Lahawan Qadash, and the rules to the Lahawan Qadash, not Yiddish, but Lahawan Qadash, which means holy tongue. Holy meaning separate. So our tongue, or our pure language, is separate from any other language in the world, and it's unique only to the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, which has no J's, E's, O's, U's, or V's in the Hebrew. So, one of the things that we first learn to do, as in with any language, is to learn how to write the alphabet. And I'm going to try my best with this pen because this pen been getting on my nerves, outside Christ. But I'm going to bear with it. So the first letter we're going to do is the letter A in the Hebrew, A, the A character. First in but ancient than Assyrian. So bear with me in this writing because this pen is kind of crazy. But if you have your Hebrew sheets, the first letter is I, which is A-H, Ah. Like you will see in the Hebrew word Ahab or Ahab. So it's A-H, or Ah. And this pen is getting on the nerves. And we have the this, which is A-H. Ah. That's the first letter in the Hebrew alphabet. You can look on your sheet in the ancient, you got Ah, and then you look down below, and you have Ah. So for anyone in the class, just for reference, can you go over your alphabet for me? You can look on the sheet and use the sheet and sound them out. You can't hear.
A, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka'a, Ta, Ka.
Yeah, it's the hard. Let me tell you, because when you're doing that kind of CHAA, it's the hard guttural sound in the back of your throat, which is Ka.
Ka. Ta. Ya. Okay, let's see what you're saying. Ka, La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, Ha, Taza, Taza, Ka, Kwa, Ra, Sha, Taha, Ta. Okay.
Most High in Christ. The more you practice, the more you get good at it. So you'll like you hear brothers greet each other real fast. That's called the Lahawan Qadash. Like if one of the generals put me on the spot, they had to ask me the alphabet. With me, with due practice, I can do it off the top of my head. I can go, that's through practice and due diligence, practicing not only the Hebrew, but the alphabets and the sounds, and know where to connect and where not to connect. And one of the rules is only the connectors in the Hebrew and the ancient have connectors. The Assyrian doesn't, so you have to know when and where it begins and ends, the word. So now we're about to go to the Hebrew letter Ba, which is the second letter in the alphabet. Hopefully this pen act right. We got Ba up top, which is the ancient, Ba down the bottom, which is the Assyrian, and then you got the actual word for the second letter in the Hebrew, which is Ba. I think it's good right now. We're going to run it any closer. It's ready. We don't want it to burn completely out. It's the job of a apothecary. So we got A and Ba so far in the Hebrew alphabet. And we're doing both the ancient and the Assyrian. So now we need to get to God, the third letter in the alphabet. So this is what it looks like. God. The one up top is the ancient, the one down the bottom is the Assyrian, and then you got the actual personification of it, which is G.A, God.
Back on the shirt.
What's that? I got Ga, Ba, Ra, and Da, which is Ga, Bar, which is B-A and R-A together, which means bar, 1-A drop. And then you got Da, which is at the end of it, which is D-A. So it's G-A, B-A-R, D-A, Ga, Bar, Da, which means Gabar means warrior, Da means four. So I'm the fourth man in all of Israel to get the name Gabar. Every name in Israel is significant and sanctioned by the Most High in Christ. So you don't get a name just to be given a name. You get a name according to who you are, who the Most High see you as, and it's passed down through commanding GEN.YAHANNA, and give it to that specific person. So we don't give ourselves a name. The Most High gives us our name, and it fits us perfectly. Let that be known to any of those fake Israelite groups out there, to any of those fake camps out there. We don't give ourselves a name. The Most High does that. So, can you tell me the next letter?
Yeah.
So, we're going to do it first in the ancient and then the Assyrian. Da. So we got Da up top in the ancient look like a triangle, and we got Da, which to me look like a walking stick with a handle. So it's Da and Da. That's how I remember it, because I've associated with certain shapes that I was seeing every day. It's just like, what's the bill? Yeah, next time we gotta have a pictorial one. So you got that? So now we're gonna go for the Hebrew word ha. So first in the ancient, then in the Assyrian. So that's ha. H-A, ha. So we got ha in the ancient up top, ha in the Assyrian down the bottom, and then the H-A will represent what those two letters are. Ha. So we go to the next one.
Wa.
Exactly. Wa. So we got Wa in the ancient, Wa in the Assyrian, and the letters for Wa. So if you choose to, I can give you a piece of paper and you can go ahead and try to write them yourself also while the class is open. And then this There's a small table somewhere. So that was why. So now we get to the seventh letter of the alphabet, which is Zah. Zah, as in Zion, which means weapon, or you got Zion, which is another parable or name for Israel. So Zah. And for anybody who don't know, if you play in Scrabble, the letter ZA is worth a lot in Scrabble. Zah meaning just a piece of pizza. It's a useless fact, but just for somebody to know. Zah. Up top, go like a Z, Zah. You got Zah at the bottom in the Assyrian, and you got the actual letter of the alphabet, which is Zah, Z-A. You got that? And this will definitely help you on like Sabbath service, or you got to read something for a brother in class when you have to rely on the Hebrew, not the Yiddish ever, but the Hebrew. Lahawan, Qadash, holy tongue. And the reason why it's called holy tongue is because there are no J's, E's, O's, U's, or V's in the Hebrew. There's nothing but two vowels, which is the long A sound and the short I. Anything else with J, E, O, U, or V is not Hebrew. That's Yiddish. That is a Slavic language made up of German, Russian, maybe some French. That's about the Khazarian Empire, those so-called fake Jews, according to Revelation 2:9 and 3:9, that came, had us under captivity, or as they called in the Bible, Amalek, which is a lineage out of Edom, the so-called white man, who when he had us in captivity, he learned that language and added vowels so that when his people were set up in like 1949, set themselves up as the state of Israel, they could say that they were us. But according to the Bible, with the research, and with the Most High bringing it to the I.S.U.P.K. and through Commanding GEN.YAHANNA and so on, and the integrity and lineage passed down, we were able to discover that we are the true Jews according to the Bible. And those that's over there living in Palestine, Jerusalem now are fake. They are Jewish, which meaning a fake, a facsimile, a product of not the real thing. Like if you would say blackish, that means it's black but not white. There's something wrong with it. When you say Jewish, it's something wrong with that. You cannot be ish a part of. You either got to be all or none at all. So Jewish people are fake, very fake, but not fake-ish. Fake, but not fake-ish. So we was on the 8th letter, which is Ha, and that's the ha guttural sound in the Hebrew, the C-H-A-A, Ka. And it should be very easy to remember this one. Looks like a ladder. And then you got the other Ka, which is in the Assyrian. That's C, H-A-A. Ka. So now I'm going to get to the next letter, which is Ta. And what you will see and associated with in the Hebrew, in the ancient, is where, probably Stan Lee got that and made it the X-Man symbol. But that's our Hebrew letter for the word Ta. He actually got from us, but Stan Lee's supposed to be a so-called Jew himself. So he knew what he was doing. He tried to put it out there, but, a lot of people ain't noticed. So, the Hebrew letter for Ta is this. That's T-A, Ta. I could have drew Ta better, but you get the idea if you have your sheets with you. So if you think about it, it look like the X-Men symbol, the X encased in the circle. That's where Stan Lee got it from. Because a lot of these movies and whatnot throw out these subliminal messages and make you think, oh, ain't nothing great in the world but, Esau and white people in his lineage, when they've been taken from our culture all this time and hiding it as theirs. Those are our Hebrew symbols and letters that they are using to try to profess themselves as something when they are nothing. So everything that's on this earth that's good and great was stolen from us. We even built the pyramids, but that's another history lesson for another class. We built the pyramids. We was the one in Egypt in hard labor. So if they needed us, which we are the greatest people on earth, how could you say that you built it when you had slave labor do it? It's common sense. But I'll let Kenneth burn in their ignorance. So now we're going to get to the Hebrew letter Yah, as in you will see in Yahweh, Yahweh, which is the Most High name, Deuteronomy 6:4, Exodus 15:3. It's there in Hebrew if you know how to read Hebrew, not Yiddish, but Lahawan Qadash. You're going to get to the Hebrew letter Yah, which is the first letter of the Most High and Christ's name. And it looks like this. Yeah. You see on your paper how it looks different when you're actually doing the ancient, which is up top, and then the Syrian down the bottom. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm going to make another space on here to show you the Most High name. Write it out. Here how it would look in the ancient. So it's Y-A-H-A. That's Y-A-H-A-Y-A. It's like Y-A-H-A-W-A-H-A. But one of the A's dropped, so you got Yah, Ha, Wah. Because the Wah and the Ha connects. So that's the Most High name, Yahweh. which means he is, I am, the same name that he told Moses, nothing different, nothing more. And since there's no U's, J's, E's, B's, and whatnot, his name couldn't be Yahuwah or Yehuda or Yahweh. None of those fake or facsimiles of his name, but the actual name that he told Moses in Deuteronomy 6 and 4 and Exodus 15 and 3. The Lord is a man of war. So that means if you hear that scripture, Exodus 15 and 3, then you know the Most High is not no Mother Nature. Then you know that he is not a woman. No offense to nobody, but he's not a woman. And the Most High has a spirit of war, which means, guess what? His people are men of war. His soldiers are men of war. The angels are men of war. Yahweh Christ is a man of war. Yeah, I started thinking about it. You get scripture breakdown and Hebrew class here. Get to the Hebrew word ka, which is the soft K in the Hebrew. And ka looks like this. Ka. If you look on your sheet, you'll see the word ka, K-A. Did anybody have any questions?
Any questions online?
Yes.
Any questions online? Say it. Any questions online?
Anybody have any questions online? If you do, put it on the screen and basically we'll get to your questions. So other than that, I'm gonna continue on. So now we get into the Hebrew letter La. La in the Hebrew, in the ancient, and the Assyrian. La. As in Lamad, Lanka, LA. Not the city, Los Angeles, but the, the actual Hebrew word for La is LA, and you got up top the ancient, and then you got the Assyrian. The Assyrian is the writing of the actual Hebrew, which means when we was under Assyrian captivity, it was another way of us writing our Hebrew, which means, like if you are in school now, which they are implementing today, going back to cursive. So you would think of the Assyrian as being the cursive of the ancient Hebrew. You know, they having that as also as requirement in school that you learn cursive again. You know, because kind of is that, you know, I don't know why they stopped, because that's one thing that America, wicked America, Babylon requires you to have as a signature. So if you would do any kind of cursive, let your signature be unique, so nobody can copy. Exactly. Exactly. Their signatures, their signet, their seal.
It's a language.
Exactly.
That is dominant Christian church.
Exactly. Like the captain said, it's a language. You can find that in the Bible in Esther 8 and 8, talking about how they use the signet of the king's name to make a seal, a mark, so it couldn't be overturned. Because who's going to go and take the king's name off of anything? You ain't gonna do that because you know why? The king will chop your head off, basically, for trying to overturn a rule or his decree. So now we're going into the next letter, which is Ma, as in Malak, which means king, as in Mashach, as in Malachi, M-A. Which is Ma. After we get through the alphabet, I'm going to go into some of the words that I chose to go over today with you. And these are some of the simple words to go ahead and learn, but that'll help you out, especially when you hear them. Like you were here in Sabbath service, or you were here and, you know, a brother say a word you might recognize. But right now, in the alphabet, this is M-A, which is Ma, in the ancient up top, and then the Assyrian down bottom. And then you got M-A, which is the actual name for it, Ma. And one thing also that you can find in the Apocrypha, it tells you that which is said in Hebrew, that which is said in English and in Hebrew, has not the same power or force as it was said in another language. So when we say our prayers in Hebrew, when we write our name in Hebrew, that's power. Just like the Most High name is strictly pure power. When the Most High says something and it goes out, it does not come back void. It does not come back to vanity or nothing. When the Most High says something with the power of his name like that, it happens. It is done. It is nothing you can do to overturn it. So that was Ma that we had just did. We're going to the Hebrew letter Na. But what I need to do is do all three. That's the Hebrew letter for Na. Now I'm going to explain all three to you. The top is the ancient, the bottom is the Assyrian, and then the one on the bottom, direct bottom, is the ending for Na. Is the ending. You see it? Mm-hmm. That's the ending for it. And it's all the way at the bottom in your right-hand corner. Because only these letters have endings on them. We got Ka, Ma, Na, Ha, and Tazah. So we had Na right now. So like I said, the top is the ancient, the middle is the Assyrian, and the very bottom is the ending of Na. It takes some use to get into, especially if you're a trooper. It will behoove you to get into these Hebrew classes, no matter what city you're in. Tune in, and to learn your Hebrew so that you can pass your troop, so you can pass your test from being a trooper and you can be out here speaking as the Most High wants you to speak with His words, which are power. So I'm going to the Hebrew letter for Sa, first in the ancient, then in the Assyrian, and it looks like this.
How many bars are on that?
3. Sa in the ancient up top, Sa in the ancient on the bottom, and then the actual letter, which is S-A, Sa. And just for a brief moment, I want to remind everybody about the 50th annual Passover, Most High in Christ. That's at the Woodhaven Ballroom up in Jamaica, Queens, New York, on April the 20th. Come out, have a good time. You know, do as the Lord commands, celebrating His high holy days, and not these pagan, wicked holidays like that fake Easter coming up, which is actually the worship of a woman, which is actually the worship of a Babylonian god called Ishtar. But that's what happens when you don't have knowledge in a Christian church, worshiping things that the Most High told you not to worship. But here in the I.S.U.P.K, under the Most High in Christ and commanding GEN.YAHANNA, you will do as the Most High commands. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing in this world but righteousness. Just to remind everybody. So that was Sa. So now we get into the word I. So now we got up top the Hebrew letter for I, and then you got the letter for I on the bottom. Up top is the ancient, down bottom is the Assyrian, and then the actual word for I. And now we got 6 letters to go through next after that, and then we'll go into some vocabulary and the writing of these words. Because you know, it's everyday words that we see. And just to let General SHALAM know, I knew those words. I knew those words, General. Most High in Christ. So that's the Hebrew letter for I, the Hebrew letter for I. So now we're going to get into the Hebrew letter Pa, which is P-A, Pa. First in the ancient, then in the Assyrian. And this is another example of having one of the Hebrew letters that have an ending on it. When this Hebrew letter ends up on the end of the word. It's Pa, P-A. Not Pennsylvania, but Pa. The top is the ancient, the middle is the Assyrian, and the bottom is the ending of that, which is Pa. So now,
One second.
mental por favor. I mean, we'll do that. I don't know. So we just went over the Hebrew letter Pa. Now we into the Hebrew letter Tazah. Tazah, that's one whole word. Tazah. It looks like this. Tazah. T-A-Z-A. T-A-Z-A. So you got up the top, the ancient Tazah, in the middle, the Assyrian Tazah, and the ending for Tazah at the bottom. These are one of the letters that will go at the ending if need be. Tazah. And notice the whole time that we're going through this Hebrew alphabet, it has been no J's, E's, O's, U's, or V's. The J didn't even come into the 1700s. So most of the J's that were back then during the 1700s, before they came, most of them was used as Y's. Mostly was used as Y's instead of J's. Just like you got the name Joseph, when you will go to the Hebrew, what would you see? The name Isupk. Instead of Jesus, a Y would be there, and you will see the name Yahawashah, which also Joshua had the same name. It was a practical name back then. So Jesus and Joshua shared the same first name, which is Yahawashah. Plus, for the old so-called Testament Hebrews, they want to be out there. They say, "Oh, Christ wasn't nowhere mentioned. He was mentioned. He was mentioned in Numbers 24:17. So what are they talking about? And John 1:43, because the scripture said they mentioned Yahushua through prophecy. So what is the Old Testament talking about? Get your scriptures up. Get your strength up. You got I.S.U.P.K out here. We don't take L's. And that's a maniacal laughter. No. But anyway. We in the Hebrew word Qua, which is Q-A. Qua. Qua. The top is the ancient, the bottom is the Assyrian, and then you got QA. It don't stand for question and answer, but it actually stands for Qua in the Hebrew. So you got that? All right, no sweat. That's the proper way to say that. No sweat. So now we're into the last three letters of the alphabet coming up, which coming up is Ra. Nothing to do with the ancient Egyptians, but has everything to do with our culture. Ra. It's not talking about the Egyptian god of life and death. We don't deal with that. We don't deal with fake gods, because it's like this. When Moses was having us come out of Egypt during the Exodus, Moses went to the Pharaoh. He did not come in front of their so-called fake god, Ra. A dog-headed man? Come on. Stop making up fairy tales. Moses went and confronted the Pharaoh himself. The Most High gave the information to Moses to tell the Pharaoh to let his people go. He did not talk to no Ra. He did not talk about none of the 108 other gods that they got in Egypt. He talked directly to Moses, and Moses spoke back. But the Most High spoke through Moses. That's why we was able to leave Egypt, because why? The Most High, with his power, demanded. And there was nothing that the Pharaoh could do. So can Egypt need to stop them fairy tales and lies? Moses spoke to the Pharaoh. I'm telling you, hypocrisy, lies, and everything that's not true. Hold on. So next to the last letter, which is Wa in Hebrew. I mean, Salakia, Shah. My mind was somewhere else for a second. Salakia.
You were thinking.
Ka, which is Shah. And that's the ancient curse, now in the Assyrian.
Technology.
Which is Shah. So as you will see in a little bit of the suffix of the word Yashar Allah, you will see S-H-A, Shah. So you got the one that looked like a W, and then as I would describe it, the one that looked a little like a three-pronged menorah, or manawara in the Hebrew. So now we are on the last letter of the Hebrew, which is Tha. Tha. Which is Tha, T-H-A, which is in the Hebrew thumb, or Tawada, which means thank you. T-H-A, Tha. So just ask in the classroom. Was there any questions? Just ask any questions. But in the classroom, how many have you written down, or did you write them down? May I see it? And that sheet you can take home too and practice when you need to.
She is a very good tool. In every language, we will start with. It's no doubt with that. And I guarantee that we're going to have to make some increase in it. Write it out, send it out. Exactly. Over and over again. And when you come to the Saturday service every Saturday, you're going to start speaking English. You're going to start reading English. But everybody started here. Every officer, every trooper, everybody started here. The basic fundamentals of it.
Yes, and give that brother Wood a hand. The handwriting on the paper is real good. I mean, it look like if I was writing it on paper, it look like something I would write. So, brother, good job. When we get the dry eraser board, then I'm gonna really show him. But for now, be humble and deal with this.
With technology, like you gotta evolve to the next. We moving forward from the dry erase board and the chalkboard. I was thinking about it too, because that pad is a bit difficult for me. A 5-year-old coming here is having a ball with it.
Exactly.
That's the generation.
Exactly. So now we're gonna go through a little bit of the Hebrew vocabulary with some basic simple words. So the first one that I want to do, because I know, after class you might want to relax, or you might want to catch up on your shows and what you're going to watch it on.
Yeah.
No, that's not. I do want some of that though. But you're gonna watch it on TV.
Yeah.
You're gonna watch your shows on TV, right? So guess what? This is what TV is. We'll write the word first. Kabah. TV. Just that simple. No, that's not in the Bible, but that's one of the vocabulary words that really not used a lot. It's the word for actual television. In the Hebrew, which is the ba and the ha connects. So you got ra, ha, ta, and ba. Ra'akaba, which is TV. This is what it's saying. Shemai Ra'akaba, or Shamar Ra'akaba. Shamar Ra'akaba. You will watch or watching TV. Shalomar Ra'akaba, which you will be watching TV. So you catching up on your show, so you watching TV. Shalomar Ra'akaba.
You said that the letter drop. Could you go into detail about that word?
Yeah, if I had the word ha at the end, you will get all together, you got ba and ha. So between those two, one letter drop, you got ba, B-A-H. Exactly. So Aqaba is TV.
The A is not, you get the angels at the top. You see on the hub, there's no A at the end, indicating that the line of rock can make it in the English. So I didn't know you got it concerning, but in the ancient, more so in the ancient, you'll see it connected, but it would be Rahata, Rahata, and Rahata. That's all that is.
In the ancient. And you got TV written out, and you got it in the Assyrian up top, and you got it in the ancient on the bottom. Aqaba. So now, let me ask this. If I wanted to if I wanted to entertain myself and I didn't want to watch TV, what's the next thing I would do? What do you do with a radio? You listen, right? So if I wanted to have a radio, I would listen to the radio, right? So now, radio itself is Shema, which means to listen, the ba. Shema, the ba, which is radio. This is what me and Shalom was discussing. He was like, yo, remember that? Yes, I do, sir. With all due respect. With all due respect. Come to Shema, Shema. Shema means to listen or to hear. Shema Papa is radio. Shema Papa. Shema Papa. Shema Papa. Bear with me. Shema the for radio is Shemataba. Shema, which means to hear. Baba is statement action, so you're listening to the radio. So Shema Baba. So
Can you make the lines bigger?
Kind of try. I'm thankful for Priest Kawan Black showing me at least this much.
You're gonna go wait. Yeah.
Having a little bit of technical difficulties, we'll get more on this ASAP. So, the next word will be phone, which is the bar kaba, the bar, which means to speak. So you're speaking into a phone, the bar. Most definitely, sir. Come on, Pastor. Show me to that. My usual ride, he said if you can't pick him up in the morning, then make arrangements, so we already know where he was, but just in case.
Take care.
Come on. So phone is, so the word for phone is DABARTHABAH. The bar, the bar. I'm trying to show you, but this one act up. So that's why we need to do dry erase if we're gonna end this. When this don't want to do, I can hit that dry erase. So find the letter Da on the Hebrew chart. So right beside it, you're going to put together Ba and Ra together. So first Da by itself, then BAR together, that is Ba and Ra. Drop one of the A's. Then you're going to put Tha, which is Tha and Ah together. Then you're going to put Ba and Ha together, drop one of the A's. So it will be, phone is the bar for Ba. The bar for Ba. This is totally whatever it wants. So we're going to get into some more Hebrew words. The word for judge. The word for judge, which is shapat. Shapat is the Hebrew letter Shah, and then Pat is P-A-T, which is the Pa and the Ta together. We'll drop one A. Shapat, which is judge. Now, so far, we went over TV, which is Ra'athaba, radio, which is Shamathaba, phone, which is the Barthaba, and now we into the word for judge, which is Shapat. So now I want to get into the word which is meaning cold, which is quar. That's the QA and the RA together. You drop one of the A's, so you got quar, QAR, quar, which means cold. Like it's cold outside, or I feel a little cold, I need to put on a jacket. So the word is cold, which is quar. So you got qua and rod together. Drop one of the A's, and you got quar. I should call it technical support to this. Even change the color back and everything. So let's get into another Hebrew word, which is the word for hand. Which you got Yah and Da together, which is YAD, Yad. Like when we say hands down, which is Yadium, which means many hands, or hands, Matah, which means down. So Yad, which is hand, YAD. Alright, so we got that. Then we're going to go into the word house. Let me check to see if there's any questions on that. This is the word for house is Bayat, which is BAYATH, Bayat, which you have Ba, Ya, and Tha. So it's Bayat, which is the Hebrew word for house. we get ready to get the word for head. For what's on the top of your body, which is your head. The one up top, your head. So that will be Ra'ash. Ra'ash, which is R-A-A-S-H. Ra'ash. So you got Ra, you got Ah and Shah together. Ah and Shah together, which make it Ash. Ra, Ash. So the next word for head, Asalaki, the next word for eyes is Ayan, which is the letter I, Ya, and Na together, which is I-Yan. Like the eyes in your head, I-Yan. That's singular. Well, when it's talk about more than one, it would be Ayan Yam. But for I itself, E-Y-E, it is I Yam. Is that that? All right. So now we're going to do the word for love. Because you know the Most High can love or he can hate something. The same emotions that we got. He is not one-dimensional like the Christian church will have you to believe that he's all about love. The Most High said in Malachi 1:1-2, and in Romans 9:13, that he hated Esau. But it tells you that he loved Jacob in Romans 9:13. So if he loved Jacob, which is the so-called Negro, Hispanic, and the Native Indian man, he loved us, those 12 tribes right there on his side, but he hated Esau, which is the so-called white man. So if you can love and hate, that means you got a whole lot of emotions and thoughts other than just one, which the Christian church make you to believe that the Most High just love. He hates also. So why is everybody talking about in the Christian church, oh, he all about John 3:16? That scripture don't even mean that. Once you come into the I.S.U.P.K and learn what it properly means, that world that he loved is the world of Jacob, the world of Israel, those 12 tribes, not the so-called white man and the other nations. Because in Isaiah 40:15-17, and should be 2nd Ezra 6:54-56, he said in Isaiah 40:15-17, he said the nations are like the drop that fall from the bucket. And he take up the isles as a very little thing. Talk about those of Hawaiian and Polynesian descent, the Hawaiian. He said they ain't nothing. And you got a whole bucket of water, right? But you lose that one drop. Are you gonna go back for that one drop and risk losing your whole bucket of water? You're gonna leave that drop where it's at, right? And continue to go on because you got plenty more, right? That's how it is. The Most High loved Israel, but he could care less about the other nations. They did because we was under their captivity. So when the Most High goes back to remember Revelation 13:9-10, he that putteth into captivity shall go into captivity, which means without a doubt, they're going to go into slavery for what they've done to us. And he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. all those other nations that was killing us while under their captivity, Most High say we gonna have a chance to do it to them, but we must wait ye upon the Lord. That's one thing you gotta understand. It doesn't come in our time, but it comes in the Most High time. So when the Most High want to take his vengeance for us, because I tell you the Lord shall fight for you, we don't get out there and harm no one. We keep on doing these law, statutes, commandments. We keep on speaking against the so-called white man and the other nations, going out there speaking on Saturday, and we love our brothers and our sisters. We don't put our hands on no one, but we damn right sure do have the right to defend ourselves if need be. But we ain't going out there and beating nobody down. How you gonna get beat down is by the scriptures, which means these scriptures gonna correct you. The Most High is having these words confront you to correct your wickedness, just like it corrected our wickedness when we was out there. We ain't putting our hands on nobody. To love somebody means to correct them, not to go out there and take someone and beat them into submission. That's wrong as I don't know what. But to go ahead and correct them with the scriptures, as Christ, if he was here right now, would correct us, which the Bible is doing right now, that's love. And the word for love is aha. A-H-H-A-B. Aha. You got ah, ha, and ba together. You got ah, then ha and ba together. One A drops off. So it's aha. So that's the word for love. Aha. So now, if the Most High love, he can also hate, right? That's his choice, that's his will. I want to be able to love and hate like the Most High. I love what the Most High love, and I hate what he hates. So how is that racism? You doing what the Most High do, which is loving and hating. You loving your brother, your nation, your people, and you're hating your enemy. You tell me you're going to love, which is the other nations, but in a bigger sense, that can be a neighbor, a fellow Israelite that you could hate. But you don't hate your own people, because why? Divided, what can you accomplish? But together with your people and only your people, we can accomplish much, because guess why? Are these other nations coming and loving us? No, because where's our stores? Where's our restaurants? Where's our banks? Where's our supermarkets? The Most High said we will go in Deuteronomy 28 and 48, that we will go in the need of one of all things to our enemies, because they own the things which we shall already have. But the word for hate is ayabah, which is A-H, Yah, which is Y-A, and Ba, which is B-A-H. So you got Yah, Ba. A-H, Y-A, B-A-H. So you got then Yah, then Ba and Ha together. Yah, Ba. Any questions? Any questions out there in the classroom? All right. So now we're going to get to the word meaning ears. And it's not exactly what you think. You know, like you hear in the Hebrew, which you would hear the credo a lot. Shema, Yasha'Allah, Allahayna, Salati. Shema Yahweh Eloheinu Yahweh God. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord. Son, which is AHZAN. Son. So you got and then Za and Na together. Son. Like that. So the word for car, like you taking your car somewhere, you gonna drive it probably to the Passover, or you're gonna drive your car to the nearest store. The word car, which is ma ra ka. We got ma ma ra, which is ra, and then ka KAB. Ma ra ka. So you got the Hebrew letter for ma, the Hebrew letter for ra, and then ka, which is the soft KA, and ba, which is BA, together, and one A drops off. So you got ma, ra, ka. So now, got that? So can you tell me the words that you got so far?
Quran, Azan,
Maraka.
Maraka,
Mhm.
Azan,
Mhm.
Ayaba, Ahab, Ayam, Raj, Rayat, Yam, Shapa,
You say Shawat,
Shapa,
you must mean Shapat.
Shapa.
Yeah, because that's Sha, which is SHA, and Pat, which is PAT, Shapat, which means judge. Now we're going to get the word which means hot in Hebrew, hot, which is ka, which you got the hard ka, CHAA, and ma together. One A drops off, so you got CHAAM, ka. And you know what Hebrew word that is? It's actually the name also of a nation of people, which are the Africans, which is Ham. So it has another meaning too. The word Ham, CHAAM, which is the Hebrew name for the Africans, which are Ham. If nobody knew that. So it's actually talking about the temperature and a nation. And we are not from Africa, despite what everybody else say, because the Africans, the Ethiopians, the Libyans, the South Africans, did I say the Libyans and the Egyptians, all of them come from Ham, out of their progenitor, which is Ham. Because Noah had 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Japheth is the Hawaiian and the Polynesians. Ham is the African nations, and Shem is basically Israel, and then the Arabs. That's basically who I really care about saying. But mainly Israel come out of Shem. That's showing you that despite what they put on Facebook, despite what they say, that's showing you who the forefathers is, especially with the Africans. When you track down their lineage in the Bible, in Genesis 10 and 6, I think to 10 and 6 to 20 or 23, will tell you about the sons of Ham, and you find out that we are not in that lineage line, and we are totally separate. But when you get to Shem, when you track the lineage of Shem on down, you'll find out through Shem, you get Noah, then Isaac, Salaki, you get Noah, you got Noah first, then you got Shem, then you got Abraham, then you got Isaac, then you got Jacob. So how can you get two nations out of one seed? And the Most High said that the Africans, which is the progenitor or the father Ham, we not even in that line. Because when you go to the definition of Ham, it says probably born about 96 years before the flood. And one of the four people, predominant people that lived through the flood, Ham is the progenitor of the darker races, not the Negroes, which you see there on the sign behind me. If you can see it, it tells you Judah is what? The Negroes, right? So if it tells you Ham is the progenitor or the father of the dark races, not the Negroes, how is people that's African Americans here, so-called African Americans, how we African? That busts that lie right there. We ran into the territories of Africa during the 70 AD destruction to escape Roman persecution. There's a book called From Babylon to Timbuktu that will tell you this, and also give you the scripture, Deuteronomy 28 and 64 to 68, telling you how we ran to Africa and then through the diaspora and through the transatlantic slave trade, how we then will spread it out. And where these 12 tribes are located, Genesis the 49th chapter tells you exactly where we at. So it makes no sense when an African or a Kemet person or Ethiopian so come out their mouth and say, "Oh, we're the same people." Not true. Just because you have the same complexion does not mean that you're the same people. You got some dark Chinese people. Are we Chinese? Do we speak their language? Do we live in their country? Do we own any stores? So that's showing you who we not. You got Africans owning stores. You think they're gonna let us come into their stores and say, "Hey, after you move out, sell it to me"? No, they're gonna keep it in their family by letting what? Their own people, their own kind, come into the stores and take over when they take that money back to their people. Because ain't none of that money hitting the hood. They're showing you who we are not. We are not Africans. Did you see any Africans march with us in the civil rights movement? Where were they? They was in Africa, right? It wasn't messing. Africans don't mess with us, because let me tell you, they only say that because we're the same complexion or could be the same complexion. But the thing about it, when it comes to getting something for their people, we are not included. That thing about Nipsey Russell, he was a heathen. He was an African. Exactly, Nipsey Hussle. Excuse me, I say Nipsey Russell. But Nipsey Hussle, he was not our people. And you know, a lot of our people committing blasphemy, trying to make it like he's a god all of a sudden. Before he passed away, I never heard of his music. And then catch this. When they did the interview with his mom, she up there chanting and doing witchcraft and voodoo while these people talking to her, and in the background you can hear them doing it. That's showing you that's not a custom of our people to be conjuring up spirits. Talk about she gonna pour some water because of the libation. Don't they know that libation back then when the Africans was doing it, was the worshiping of blood. So yeah, she might be using water back then, but I guarantee you, if her and Nipsey was back in that country in Africa with his forefather, which is African, guess what? That water would have been blood they was pouring. So don't let them fool you. That's why the scriptures say, "Let no man deceive you." There's a lot of lies they tell in the Bible each day, but guess what? The Most High always crushed them with the truth. I never seen one of their gospel. I seen what the Most High did. The Most High done burned down California because he was angry what they done to us, especially on them plantations and stuff. The Most High done flooded China, done put plenty of earthquakes in Japan. Matter of fact, they said the fire in California was so hot that it was melting rock. Ain't nobody gonna tell me that ain't the Most High. He shakes up and destroys our enemies for us. So we don't have to do nothing until he sends Christ, which is keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. That's the only thing the Most High asking for us, and to come together as one and love our people. Zephaniah 2:1. And we better do it. We better come together before that terrible day he sent Christ back. Because Christ ain't coming back to hug you. Christ ain't coming back to say, "Oh, I love you. Come in." Christ is coming back to do what he's going to do, which is give revenge on these other nations for how they not only did him, but us. That's Luke 19:27. For my enemies, for that which would have me not reign over them, bring them hither, which means come in, bring them here, and he say, and slay them before me. Which means we're going to bring them to Christ. Next. I want Yahushua, even if I ain't here to see it, I want Yahushua to come back. I'm tired of this hell. But you know what makes this so good? That I'm in the midst of my own people, those 12 tribes. When I'm coming to class, when I'm on the street, when, I'm congregating and having conversation with my brother on the phone. That's what makes it worth it, being around your own people. Because we ain't hanging out with no Chinese, are we? We ain't hanging out with no Africans, no East Indians, who our people around mostly? Our same own people of the same lineage, Hispanics, Native Indians, and Negroes. That's showing you that their spirit is not with us. They hate us. They hate us so much, right? That in the United Nations, we have no seat there. Which is good, because Yahushua is going to come back and destroy all that, break it and burn it down to nothing, and enslave all the nations that are there that came up against us. That's in Psalm 83:3-18. I'll be glad when that happens. I want to see, through the power of the Most High in Christ, I want to see the United Nations building burn. That's going to bring me to tears. Most High in Christ. And not because it's burning or being broken down, but because I'm going to see other nations running for their life. That I'm going to laugh so hard that I'm going to be crying. But let me see. It says, Shalom to the house. Okay, Khan. So if you got any questions, even if it's about a quick breakdown, let me know. But there's been a lot of talk online, talk about, how it's shy and real and this and that. How is the greatest man that's on the planet wasn't real? This is how you cut the BS and bring the truth. How you going to take the greatest man who ever lived, Yahushua, and you going to take him and paint him white? Because the so-called white man ain't got nothing of his own. So he going to take the image of Yahushua that's out of the Bible, because Yahushua was a living, breathing human being, exceptional human being, perfect human being at that. And the so-called white man gonna take his image and paint him white. Why is that? If he didn't exist, that's showing you that when they talk about, oh, he didn't exist and all that, why you paint him white then if he wasn't so great, if he didn't exist, if he never was living? And then not only that, why is his lineage in the Bible in Matthew 1:1 to I think to 17, talk about 14 generations from David unto Christ. 14 generations. You can't have a person living if you don't have a bloodline or a generation. Which will tell you in Acts 7, should be Acts 7, or Hebrews 7:14, that Christ sprung out of the line of Judah, which would today will be known as the so-called Negro, which means Christ is a black man. And then it tells you in should be First Maccabees 3:48, how the heathen and the other nations went to the book of the law and painted the images thereof, which means they looked at themselves, they knew Christ was black, and they said, in order to hide the truth, we're gonna go look in the Bible, see what he looked like, and paint him to be us. They went ahead and actually changed the color of Christ from being a true black man out of the tribe of Judah into Buddha, into that damn Krishna or whatever that satanic looking thing is. And Buddha is a homosexual. I'ma just say it. Ain't no man supposed to be up there orally and up there laughing with all his chest showing. You ain't supposed to be seeing nobody flesh like that unless you married to them, and then it's a woman that's supposed to be seeing your body who you married to. Buddha is a homosexual. All that daggone makeup he got on looked like he went into Liz Claiborne and got hit in the face with a big powder puff. Come on, how you gonna have something effeminate like that be the king of kings? Come on now. That is so, I don't want to say that word because, I'm going to get checked for it. But I'm gonna say it like this, that is so homosexualized. A brother just spoke yesterday, which he did an excellent job. Officer 50, priest and prophet Alzai, did that brother a hand. He broke that thing about homosexuality down, where it stemmed from, and that it's a mental disease. But also it's a choice that people made because this is what they like, taking on the characteristics of Sodom and Gomorrah, which is over here in America. Because what's the biggest thing, the biggest bill that they pushing now? For the LGBTQP, I'm tired of these damn letters, believe it. Getting rights to teach our kids that if you coming out of the closet or that you disobeying God by being a homosexual, that it's okay. The Bible never said it was okay. So by you teaching men to do so, or your children to do so also, like it says in Matthew 5:19, you teaching them to be wicked. So why do you think that when they grow up, they're going to disrespect you? Your child calling you, telling you, "Ma, I'm coming to dinner." And then you're expecting a nice, pretty young thing, or a nice, pretty woman with curves and everything. And he bringing a rough-ass Negro with him, talk about, "Mine, this is my boyfriend." Let me tell you, that was my mom. That gravy bowl would have flew past my head so damn fast. She talked about, "You brought a what?" And it's words that I'm not going to say on here. But, they ain't having it. The Most High ain't having it. And then when you go to like Leviticus 20:13, right? It tell you that this is an abomination, a man being with a man as he lied with a woman. Both of them have committed an abomination, right? And their blood shall be upon them, which means their blood shall be upon them, talking about HIV and AIDS. Now, where Dr. Sebi or Sibi or whatever, however you pronounce the name, where's the cure for that? I ain't taking no banana pills or eating that. Talk about that gonna cure something, and then somebody at the doctor's office talk about, I got something I can't get rid of. Can you help me out? Really? If he had to cure so much, why ain't it presented? Showing you there is some BS in that. And whether even if this is true, Esau making a mint off the pharmaceutical companies anyway. So you think he would not, if he had to cure, you think he wouldn't give it to his people first? Because he ain't gonna give it to us. Because you know what, you look at us as a bunch of, because it's exactly, you look at us as not only animals but monkeys. Because guess why? When you go to our brothers that's in Brazil, Argentina, Panama to Europe, Guatemala to Panama, Argentina to Chile, when our brothers over there playing soccer, you got the white fans up there in the booth throwing bananas out there at the black players. Well, that's showing you that Esau hate us and he has nothing in our best interest. Everything that Esau do is to torment and kill us so that the Most High won't come back, and also that the Most High won't send Christ back to get revenge. Because it tells you the Lord shall fight for you. It ain't really tell you what Lord. The Most High give the orders. Make sure everything go down. The Yahweh and the angels is the one that do it. They make sure that order carry out. And when the Most High say destroy, tear down, just like he did homosexual Sodom and Gomorrah, burned it to the ground with thermonuclear destruction, to where Lot's wife, being nosy, just like a Negro woman being nosy, she want to turn around and see everything in awe and everything what's happening that the Most High was sending the angels to do. And she got turned to a pillar of salt. Thank you, Miss Nosy. That means mind your business, do what you're supposed to do. Oh, come, it's 9 o'clock. All right. So with that, we'll be back here next Friday. And you know the Passover is coming up on April the 20th at the Woodhaven Ballroom up in Jamaica, Queens, New York. It's $200 per person or $200 per family. This is one of the times where we have to come in front of the Most High and Christ and present ourselves at least 3 times a year. And Passover is definitely one of those times. So with that, I would say Amadium. We're going to give a one courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel. Amadium Shabbat, Amadium Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shabbat. Yamatah, which means hands down, and that was one of our words to Yah. And now the security announcements real quick. It says, we are the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yahanna. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18:21 and Malachi 3:8-10. Means 10th in the Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ashara. 10% of every 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the Treasury Department or teacher, priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. Up Holy Convocation, which is the Passover on April the 20th in Jamaica, Queens, New York, at the Woodhaven Ballroom in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Come, bring your family, $200 per person or $200 pure family, come celebrate the Most High holy days and not these wicked high holy days of America, Babylon, or any of these other nations' wicked holidays. Remind Akim and Akwatim to check in on social media such as I.S.U.P.K.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K. events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing black, all black, which includes boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. And that's the announcements. So, with that, we're going to give, I might have already did, but one courtesy salute to the teacher, of Israel, Amayim Shabbat, Amayim, Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shabbat Rakatah, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shabbat Rakatah. Yahweh Matah, class dismissed.